So I decided to just completely remake my saving and loading videos because they were pure garbage. Honestly speaking, it was 3.5 videos of me just failing to get our saving to work. I mean, in the end, it did work, but it was a hard journey. Hard to watch, that is. So what I decided to do is just learn how to edit videos, and hopefully that will save me some time and effort. I don't want to make a video just about how I was remaking those videos though, so in this video we are going to be working on splitting our script into multiple scripts, because that's a thing visual novels do. Before that though, because this is going to be a pretty short video, I thought I should mention it beforehand. It turns out you can in fact save sets, so in our persistent data I changed our unlock gallery images to a set. Which you can do over here from array to a set. And you also have to do the same thing in your dialog when you change your image. You have to make sure to add it to a set instead of a array, because this won't compile properly if you don't do anything over here. Same with in your gallery image. Over here in the unlock gallery images, make sure you change this from a array to a set, and make sure you use the contains, the set contains instead of the array contains. Also, our participants are no longer going to have an array of expressions. You can if you want, really. It's not hard to work around using it when we do our saving and loading. I'll mention it when we do that, but I decided it would be easier to just get it from our asset ID asset list. So I made a new category for our characters, and we're just passing in the name of the actual image, so it has to be whatever this name is, not whatever made-up name you made for it. And in our participants, we're just casting to a texture 2D and setting our brush from there, like we used to with our dictionary that we got from. And speaking of the asset manager, I added those to our asset manager as well, and our project settings asset manager. I added one for scripts for our DLG dialog. I made a new folder for our scripts. It's just scripts right here. We have two things in here, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And I also made one for our characters. In our primary asset type is not, characters, texture 2D, directories, there it is. Our directories is our character sprites. For some reason, texture 2Ds just don't seem to work that well for me with our asset manager, so I also have to load it in our game instance. After I load up my backgrounds, I also load my characters, and that will make it know what they are. Considering how absolutely nothing could have gone wrong with my characters this time, I'm assuming that this is just something that Unreal doesn't like you doing with texture 2Ds, but it's not that big of a deal. I mean, it would be nice if our backgrounds was in the right order, like our what's the word, codex entries are, but it's not that big a deal. Anyways, so for actually splitting our script into multiple scripts, in our scripts folder, in our original test dialog, I now have a option for do you want to move on to the next chapter, and we have a yes, which I never filled in the option for. Yes. And we have a no. The yes leads to an end, which we'll deal with, and the no leads to a Yuri just saying you have to move on, you have to at some point, and it goes back to do you want to move on to the next chapter. So if we were to play right now, it would just look sort of break it, yep, and then it would end, or we could skip all the way, break it, and then we go no, and it goes you have to move on at some point, and we can keep choosing no, and it just loops forever. Anyways, to do our splitting our scripts, to go to the next script, I'm going to basically just go to our dialog, and we're just going to use this start dialog function right here. So I already added these scripts to our asset manager, so we can just get that really easily by going and in our modified name, I'm going to add a switch on name, and this is just going to say start script. Sure, we'll call this start script. And when we start a script, we are going to just call the start dialog. And the dialog we're starting is just our object from primary asset ID. Split this, pass in our name value, and choose scripts and cast to DLG dialog. Okay, so in our test dialog, if we were to go to our end node and add an enter event and do something like widget modify name start script, and the name value is what was it? Test2 DLG. Let's just copy this and paste it in there. Something weird would happen. We would start, and then skip all the way to the break it, and then let's stop skipping and say yes. We got an error now because over here in our branch, what happened is it started the new script. It started a new script here. It set our dialog context to be that, and it's updated text. However, when we reach this branch over here, our script identifier thing gets sort of messed up because we also had to hit the end node, and when we hit the end node on our choose option over here, it told us to go back. It told us to set our script to be nothing, our current dialog to be nothing, and it goes back to our menu. So that's what happened over there. Instead of starting our script, that's what happened. So instead, what we need to do is make a new speech child, and that will lead to the end. And nothing actually has to be in the speech child. It just has to be the thing before our end. So in the speech child, this is where I would put the enter event. So let's just copy this and trash that. And on the speech child, we'll paste this enter event. So widget modify start script. Yep, that's all good. If we hit start now, start, skip, break it, and then stop skipping, say yes, and now we're at the second chapter. And we can move on. So that's how we're going to split our script into multiple scripts. That's all that was in the second script, by the way. Anyways, hope that helped. Hope the revisions weren't too confusing, and hopefully I'll actually work on my save system in the next video.